Cooperstown, New York is the site of the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Here, you'll find the most successful players, coaches, and teams ever to have put on a uniform for our country's favorite pastime. Here, you'll find the plaque of the only African-American woman ever to have been inducted into the hall. Her name is Effa Manley. Though she never stepped onto the field to play, she quickly became known as a shrewd executive who used her platform for the advancement of civil rights.
Effa Manley is an extremely complicated and very interesting figure because there still remains some question about her ethnicity. There are those who believe that she was biracial, that her mother was white, that her father was black. Whatever the circumstance may have been, she tended to identify and assimilate to black culture. Yet she was also savvy enough to use her whiteness, which would allow her to stay and shop in places that other black folks couldn't. But then on the flip side, she would be such an instrumental figure in civil rights there in that Newark area. She did initiate the Don't Buy, Where You Can't Work movement, which ultimately put so much pressure on those stores in Newark that they opened up the opportunity for black clerks to get jobs there.
As a co-owner and general manager of the Newark Eagles from 1936 to 1948, she was noted for running one of the most professional organizations in the Negro Leagues. At a time when most of the revenue was controlled by powerful white men, she played a crucial role in the history of the game.
She took over full operations of the Eagles after her husband Abe passed away. He bought the team. They were once the Brooklyn Eagles. Then they moved over to Newark and became the Newark Eagles. But Mrs. Manley ran the day-to-day operations of that baseball team, and she knew the business of baseball as well as any man. Her civic involvement really ingratiated the ball club to the fan base in Newark. They loved Effa Manley, and they loved their Newark Eagles. The Eagles were the toast of the town in Newark, but a lot of that was due to, again, the civicness and the civic-mindedness of Effa Manley, who, again, had completely ingratiated herself with that fan base. But that's what we find this story to be so interesting. The minute Jackie takes the field with Brooklyn, that fan base who adored the Newark Eagles, what did they do? They left to go over to see Jackie in Brooklyn because there was this natural curiosity of how our great black stars were going to fare now that they had an opportunity.
In 1951, the Negro Leagues shut down for good, just 4 years after Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier. In 2006, Effa Manley was posthumously inducted into the Hall of Fame, where her legacy as a pioneering sportswoman and champion of civil rights will be immortalized forever.
She was obviously very vocal in her belief that Negro League players should be in the National Baseball Hall of Fame, and ultimately Ted Williams would take up that charge. And Ted Williams, upon his own induction speech in 1966, would use that platform to advocate on behalf of Negro League players' inclusion when he stood there somewhat defiantly and said,
"And I hope that someday the names of Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson in some way can be added as a symbol of the great Negro players that are not here only because they were not given a chance."
5 years later, Satchel Paige becomes the first player to be inducted for his Negro Leagues career. And it took that kind of advocacy from the likes of an Effa Manley, then later a ball player of the magnitude of Ted Williams. The Negro Leagues didn't really care what color you were or what gender you were. All they cared was about, can you play and do you have something to offer? It kind of created that opportunity for women to do things in this country before this country gave women an opportunity to do things. This was such a pioneering league in its own respect. And so Effa Manley's place in baseball history has been obviously etched in its proper perspective with her inclusion into the National Baseball Hall of Fame.